This is CC's Political Corner. I am your host, Captivating Christian, and today, on day 3, week 2 of testimony in the impeachment inquiry investigation hearing of President Donald J. Trump. Two witnesses testified in front of the House Intelligence Committee this Tuesday for the second week of the public hearing on the ongoing investigation of the impeachment inquiry of Donald Trump. The morning session featured Jennifer Williams, a career State Department staffer detailed to work with Vice President Mike Pence, as well as Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Vindman, the Ukrainian specialist on the National Security Council. Jennifer Williams first testified behind closed doors on November 7th and answered questions about her involvement listening to the July 25th phone call between President Trump and the Ukrainian President Zelensky, as well as Vice President Pence meeting with Zelensky during Pence's trip to Poland in September. In her closed-door testimony, Williams characterized the July 25th call as unusual, commented that granted criticism from the president, who referred to her as a never-Trumper on Sunday on Twitter. She also testified today that when she heard the call, she considered it to be unusual. She also documented it and sent it directly to the vice president, but she was not sure if he actually read her brief. A brief is basically a document of what she heard and her thoughts on the call and everything like that. She said she sent it directly to the vice president, but she was not sure if he had read it. She did an opening statement. She did thank the ranking chair of the committee, who is Adam Schiff, and the ranking members for the opportunity to provide her statement. She said that she appeared, I'm just paraphrasing, of course, to shorten this up. She appeared first by subpoena. She felt it was a privilege to serve as the Foreign Service officer for nearly 14 years. She's worked for 3 different presidential administrations, 2 Republican, 1 Democrat. She's joined the State Department back in 2006 after serving for the Department of Homeland Security under Secretary Michael Shaflov. And prior to that, she served overseas tours in Kingston, Jamaica, and Lebanon, and London, the United Kingdom. She also went on to say that her hero who got her involved in the State Department service was Condoleezza Rice. All right. Then you have Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Vindman. Vindman is a military officer specializing in Ukraine and currently serving on Trump's National Security Council. He testified alongside Williams in his closed-door testimony, which was on October 29th. Vindman confirmed that he had been present on the July 25th call and that he would express concern about the discussion afterwards to the NSA legal staff. Now, he also noted that he's taken measures to store the call's transcript, telling investigators it was placed in a different, more secure system. He also stated that he went and he reported what he heard to not only his superiors, but he then also took it to the legal counsel to review what he heard. And, once they reviewed what he heard, they wanted to basically remove it, because you could also make it private on the public scale, I guess, that they have in the NSA, but they wanted to move it to a more secure location to where in which only a very few people could view it and analyze what was said. So he said once he did that, he then proceeded to once he went to the lawyers and reported what he needed to report. He went on his job as usual. He did not expect in no way to be in front of the cameras, let alone in front of Congress, talking about this. He just felt like it was his duty as an American, as a civil servant, someone who's in the military, to report it. And he went on about his business, continuing his job. He didn't think anything of it. He wasn't trying to do it to derail anything or anyone. He was just felt like he was doing his job. Also, of course, Adam Schiff, who is the chair, gave his opening statements prior to Williams and Vindman giving their opening statements. And basically, Adam Schiff basically ran down the rundown of all that has happened. If you want to know about all that, you can look at my previous videos. But basically, he talked about the whole case in a nutshell, how Trump and the president of Ukraine had the conversation, and basically talks about there's some things that I would like for you to do. There's a favor that I want you to do, though, and the favor wasn't implied, but secretly behind the scenes, other than that conversation, there was talk and what the favor was that was needed in order for the military aid to Ukraine to be released. Both witnesses said that they did not know what any of the backstories or the back channels to why in which the conversation was had, or what was the purpose of it. Jennifer did state during her testimony that the only part that she knew was Pence was supposed to go to the inauguration of the president of Ukraine, Zelensky, and then all of a sudden she got word from the president to cancel Pence's trip. So she called the necessary people to cancel the trip. She did not know why the vice president trip was canceled, but she was told to cancel it. She then later, probably close to when everybody else found out the information as to why the trip may have been canceled, due to the administration, the Trump administration, waiting on the Ukrainian government to hand over information in regards to Joe Biden and his son Hunter Biden, and the gas company he had worked for. So moving right along from there, Devin Nunes, who is the under chair or the vice chair of this committee, gave his opening statement, and basically he tried to undermine the whole thing, said it was a circus, basically stating, going back to the Russia investigation, how everything in the Russia investigation in regards to what's his name, Mueller, was false, which in fact, in actuality, it was not false, because everybody who was involved in the Mueller investigation has been brought up on charges. Everybody. Actually, the last person who was, what is his name? It'll come to me. But the last person was just charged, and he got charged all 7 counts that he was charged with. He was found guilty of all 7 charges. his name will come to me, and if it comes to you, then you can put it in the comments. But I'm just trying to get this done. So forgive me for the lack of thing, but I've been watching this stuff all day, so charge it to my head and not my heart. But basically, that's what Devin Nunes talked about in his opening statement, that everything was false in the Russia investigation, and in fact, that everything in this investigation is just about the same, that they really had no evidence. And like I said, that's not necessarily true, because everybody involved in the Russia investigation has been found guilty and is now serving time. Everyone. Paul Manafort, everybody. Michael Cohen, still in jail. And some other people are still in jail. Can't think of the names right now, but just basically everybody's in jail other than the president. So if it was not true, those people would not be in jail. So obviously something is right, because they are sitting in jail right now. So anyway, other than that, sorry about that. Moving right along. Where was I? Sorry about that. So yeah, that was Jennifer's opening statement. And then moving right along from there. Alexander Vindman gave an opening statement as well. His opening statement, basically, he talked about, excuse me one second, I was just trying to find my notes, got a little lost here. I wrote so much. Okay. Alexander Vindman, he did wear his army uniform. Vindman thanked his father for having the courage to flee the Soviet Union some 40 years ago to give his family a better life. He also said that he joined the military to repay the country that took him in. Now sitting on top of as a Ukrainian expert to the White House, Vindman said he was grateful that he could speak up without being fearful for his family. He said, in Russia, and I quote, offering public testimony involving the president could surely cost my life. He told Congress in his opening statement that he told Congress. Vindman directed his then comment to his father and said, and I quote this too, Dad, I am sitting here today in the U.S. Capitol talking to our elected professionals. Talking to our elected professionals is proof that you made the right decision some 40 years ago to leave the Soviet Union and come here to the United States of America in search for a better life for our family. He also said, and I quote, do not worry, I will be fine for telling the truth. And with that, he proceeded to give testimony. Jennifer Williams as well gave testimony. However, she did not give much testimony. She only gave the same testimony that she gave in her closed deposition due to the White House gaggle that they have on her. She could not really answer anything outside of the scale of the testimony she gave. And the testimony she previously gave was basically in a nutshell that she felt that the phone call was unusual. However, she did not tell anybody about it. Like I said, she did do a brief about what she heard, and she gave it to the vice president's staff. She does not know if the vice president read it or not, read the brief. However, she said she did do that. She said she hadn't talked to anybody else about it. But due to the guidelines that the White House has set, she could not talk about anything outside of the scale of what she gave in documentation. However, Vindman did come under attack a little bit. Nunes attempted to out the whistleblower towards Vindman. because Vindeman would not give. He said he told 4 people, one of which was his brother, who is a lawyer, his supervisor, Fiona Hill, and 2 other people in the NSA, but he would not give the information on one of them. So Devin Nunes, in his cross-examination, tried to attempt to say, get him to tell who it was, and he would not. I guess trying to say that one of the people that he may have told might have been the whistleblower. Not sure how. Don't think that went over well because he didn't really give up any information. Let's see. They went on to basically talk about timelines and hold on one second. Right. The Republicans, I'm sorry, just one thing I added. The Republicans, then their rebuttal, basically to Vindeman, because they didn't really go after Jennifer too much, was basically trying to out the whistleblower. Representative Jordan attempted to out the whistleblower as well. He also attempted to go after Vindeman's character. He said that there was reports that Vindeman did not exude the best. He did not have the best standing in the council, in the Security Council, in the NSA, and Vindeman then rebutted him and pulled out his what is that? I slipped my tongue. His eval. He pulled out his eval that was done in July before Fiona Hill, which was his supervisor, had left, and it basically praised him that he was outstanding, forthright, and trustworthy, and all these things. Basically, everything that Representative Jordan tried to say he was not, it rebutted, and it was pretty funny to watch. Also, right, they did ask Jennifer how did she feel once she realized that the president had mentioned her. Alexander Vindman went on to say that he reported the concerns out of a sense of duty. He also went on to say that him knowing Ukrainian policy and how Ukraine would look upon the U.S., he said Ukraine wanted a White House meeting so it would give the impression, because first of all, Zelensky was a new elected president, and it would give the impression to Russia and any other interfering, I guess, nation that Ukraine had a strong relationship with the United States. So Ukraine really wanted to confirm that and solidify their place. Again, being that the Ukrainian president was new, that was one of his goals. He wanted to make sure that he did that. However, in the phone call as well, Jennifer and Alexander Vindeman, did talk about how Trump had talking points that he did not follow. In the conversation that they had, he didn't follow the talking points. The talking points usually involve when the United States is asking for something from a foreign nation like a Ukraine or anything like that. It's basically discussing things about freedom, free democracy, free from Russian aggression or any kind of aggression, and basically that's an anti-corruption and things of that nature. They say that they both agreed that the conversation did not talk about that. In fact, it praised the former attorney general who was taken out of office due to corruption, and Zelensky was elected to by the people to expound on getting rid of corruption in Ukraine. If you recall the testimony from the lady on Friday, she's been in Ukraine the longest as an anti-corruption advocate. So they have been working really hard to get rid of corruption in Ukraine. Also noted that I forgot to mention as well that they put this in, but nobody really went back and expounded on it a little bit. But Giuliani is all over this. Like Rudy Giuliani, which is the former mayor of New York City, he's all in this everywhere. His name is everywhere. He's mentioned everywhere. But funny thing is, before, I think Vindeman mentioned that before Giuliani had went to Ukraine, Donald Trump had a conversation with Vladimir Putin because they were trying to figure out why was he so engulfed in trying to figure out about this thing about Biden's son, Hunter Biden, and this company he works for in Ukraine. So come to find out, this was said in the testimony. This was said in the testimony this morning, but nobody really touched on it. But yeah, Donald Trump had a conversation with Vladimir Putin before Giuliani was scheduled to go down to Ukraine. So don't know what more is going to come of that, but I think probably some more information is going to come of that, because like Nancy Pelosi said, who is the Speaker of the House, she said all roads lead to Putin. So it must be something there. Also, they did ask Jennifer Lewis how many calls like this has she listened to during her tenure with this particular president, and she said she's listened to 12 calls, 12 international calls since she's been there. But this one, usually they're more diplomatic in nature, but this one seemed more political in nature. That's why she considered it to be unusual. Let's see, what else did I forget? I talked about the limited access. Jennifer Williams also stated that military support was for the war with Russia, because actually Ukraine and Russia are at war. Ukraine used to be part of the Soviet Union, which was Russia in a whole. And Vladimir Putin's ultimate goal is to bring the Soviet Union back. He's doing it secretly and quietly, but that's his ultimate goal, to bring the Soviet Union back. So he has people inside of Ukraine trying to secretly overthrow their government, so then he can come in and take it over. So they're basically at war right now. There are military Russian soldiers on the border of Ukraine, and all that. So he regularly adds pressure to Ukraine. So they were really expecting this money not only for the military support, but to show Russia that the U.S. is still standing with them. So that was that. Let me see if I forgot anything. Sorry for the shuffling of papers, guys, but I think that's about it. I will come with my part 2 for the 2 other individuals that the Republicans interview, but that'll be a little later because I need a break. My brain is fried right now. I'm trying to keep up with this and write notes and listen and do other things at the same time. It was kind of tough, but I got through it. But anyway, um, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much for listening. Remember, you got to be the change you want to see. So remember to register to vote, get out and vote. If you have any ideas, any topics you want me to discuss and talk about other than YouTube street drama, something that is informative, something you saw, uh, just shoot it in the comments and I will research it and get back to you. So far, those two testimonies went well. It definitely shined a light, although the Republicans tried to say that it was just still hearsay. It's more of a direct account. And then the two gentlemen that the Republicans had was more of a direct account. And I'll come back to you with that a little later. But that's what you have so far for part 1 of week 2, day 3 of this impeachment inquiry hearings. All right, so that's all I have for right now. So peace.